Hello my dear friends, I am Prashant Mauni and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing well and good. Dear friends, before moving ahead, I would like to clarify. First of all, I would like to apologize and say sorry to all of you for a very long gap of nearly a fortnight that was created, of course, by us. We were not in a position to deliver PIB on regular basis. I did try to inform all of you via my Facebook page. I did inform you that I am working on a project at present, and this project is taking all my attention. All my energies are invested in this project. I was off for a couple of days for my overdue holidays, and when I came back, the team decided that I should work on a project that I'm in fact working on. Trust me, it was very painful for me to face your comments, and to be honest, if you trust me, then we were going to continue this gap for one more week, but you are the fuel, right? You are the fuel who encouraged us, and now we have decided that if we have to burn out a little bit, then we are ready to do that, but we cannot let you down anymore. So please do accept my apologies, and from now on there won't be any gap with our PIB. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for your exams, different exams, and recently we have added many different pen drive and tablet courses, so make sure you check out StudyIQ.com to know more about it. As we are talking now, up to 40% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses, so make sure you make the most out of it. With this, dear friends, the first item that we have is pertaining to Ministry of Tourism. Now, we have talked about tourism quite a lot of time, and I'm sure that you know many things about tourism, and I would request all of you to pause this video for 60 seconds, right, for 1 minute, and think about at least 5 points, some 5 positive points pertaining to tourism. And the reason why I'm asking you to do this exercise is because tourism is a sector that has potential to uplift many people out of poverty, right? More than manufacturing, right? It is in terms of economy or in terms of livelihood opportunities and things like that. Tourism is far ahead than manufacturing. And the questions that you find, right? You find questions like how we can uplift or how we can get rid of this poverty, and what are the ways through which we can achieve development. And I believe that this sort of questions, of course, they have been asked in the past and they will be asked in the future as well, particularly your mains examination. So tourism is a point that can win some brownie points for you in your exam. So do think about 5 points that are associated or merits of tourism. The other thing is that questions are not direct. You won't find a question asking you like how or give 5 benefits or merits of tourism. No, they don't ask you this sort of questions in competitive exam. Of course, in academic exams you can expect this type of questions, but not with competitive exams. So make sure you pay attention to this sort of things, and all the notes and things that are provided, you can club them together, and you can prepare your own notes, or you can club this PDFs together, click their pictures and things like that, so that you have proper notes pertaining to one particular sector, right? So basically what we have got here is some figures from Ministry of Tourism. They have compiled some data and some items from different sources like nationality wise and port wise. They have segmented it, and they have got data from this BOI, that is Bureau of Immigration. Now, if we see the figures here, then we find that foreign tourist arrival has gone up, right? It has drastically gone up. It was 9.13 lakh in 2015. In 2016, it was 10.21, and in 2017, it is 11.76. So this leads us to a growth of 15.2% compared to December 2016. 2017 we saw a growth of 15.2%. so this is a figure that I believe is important. You can use this figure for adding more weight to your answer. This one is about Khelo India Anthem pertaining to this Youth Affairs and Sports Ministry. Now, the main objective or endeavor of this Khelo India Anthem is to encourage mass participation and promote excellence in sports. Now, you know it very well that first of all, let me clarify this thing, that in Olympics, right, our boys and girls have performed well, and particularly Para-Olympics, right, we have done absolutely brilliant in Para-Olympics. But we represent nearly 17% of world population, and we are not doing that good as we should when it comes to sports, starting from the very initial stage, from school level to Olympic level, right. There are many flaws, there are many loopholes, but if we have the right spirit, then we can sort this thing out, and we can become a sport playing country, as Sachin Tendulkar encourages us to be one, right. So this Khelo India anthem will be launched or will be played for the first time during this Khelo India school games, right. And here are some basic information, some GK stuff about it. You can have a look at it. With this, Home Ministry is sharing with us a very important item or topic pertaining to disaster management. Particularly this one is about international workshop on disaster resilient infrastructure. Now, dear friends, if you go back to your past papers, then you will find at least one question in your UPSC mains exams pertaining to disaster management. Very important topic here, disaster management, right? And this workshop was organized, a 2-day workshop was organized by NDMA as well as the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. Now, the thing is, dear friends, it is pertaining to infrastructure, and what we need at present is proper infrastructure that can protect us, that can mitigate all the risks that are associated with disaster. We know that climate change is going on, and with this climate change, the numbers, or you can say the numbers as well as the intensity or severity of this disasters has gone up. Let me give you a very recent example of 2017 as well as 2018, December 2017 and Jan 2018. California, right. We saw 2 disasters taking place here. There was a forest fire as well as there was a sort of a flood of mud taking place here, and many people have lost their lives and they have lost their properties, and this is something that happens in our country as well. In terms of climate change and its negative impact, we are on top 5 countries who are going to get negatively affected by this changing climate. So for us, a country like India, it is very important that all the infrastructure that we build from now on is as you can say a disaster, or is capable of mitigating the risks that are associated with disaster. With every infrastructure construction, it brings with it ample amount of opportunities for economic growth, and of course this disaster management is part of 17 you can say sustainable development goals of United Nations. This statement here is very important one, that is coming from Rajnath Singh, who is our Home Minister. He said that infrastructure that we will build today, right, risk-free, or you can say risk-mitigating infrastructure that we will build today, this will help our future generation, right. Very important you can say line here, and the reason is that if you see, I will give you a couple of examples. The most recent one that I can think of is Mumbai flood that took place in 2017 monsoon. We know how this whole city was in a state of chokehold, and the reason is just we had some, you can say, severe rainfall in a very short period of time. A city like Mumbai, which is one of the most populated city in the world, should have all the systems, right, that can protect it from this disasters, any sort of disasters. And you can understand that if we don't sort this thing out now, if we don't create this sort of infrastructure that can, in city like Mumbai, it can get rid of all this flood water. In city like Delhi, which is prone to earthquakes, so we need more and more buildings that are earthquake proof in areas like Delhi and other areas. We have different types of risks, right. You have some cities, particularly the cities of coastal area, right? They are prone to this. Chennai and other cities, Visakhapatnam and Bhubaneswar and other big cities are prone to tsunami, right? So we need to build those sort of, we cannot stop tsunami, but what we can do is we can be prepared for this sort of disasters. We can have high buildings where people can accumulate. We can have a local level, you can say, teams, right? Apart from state level disaster management teams and national level disaster management team, we can have some local level, grassroots level teams as well. And society can participate, actively participate during this. But before that, we have to prepare them. Home Minister also talked about this 10-point agenda that was given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during this Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction that took place in Delhi. And at that point of time, Prime Minister talked about, I'm just going to clear the things that I have written on the screen. He talked about this Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. Now remember, Sendai framework is pertaining to this disaster management, and many a times you find this sort of questions as well. Match the following type of question. You would be given Sendai, and in front of it you would be given, under this option B, you would be given, say for example, ozone, and then you have to match the proper, you know, A and B. So this sort of questions can be formed out of this thing. He also talked about a very important thing here, that next 20 years, the things that we are going to build would be more than what we have built so far in last 2000 years. And a country like India, you know that Indus Valley civilization at that point of time as well, we find gutter system and the city management was quite, you can say, at that point of time, Indian cities were this Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and other cities were Lothal, and there are other ones as well. They were the most smart city at that point of time in the world. So we have a history of good construction and or you can say city management or urban planning, and we can apply all those things with the latest technology in our today's city. With this, dear friends, he also talked about the opportunities. He said $100 trillion, right? $100 trillion investment will be required, or infrastructure will be created by 2040 around the world, and just in Asia we will need $26 trillion by 2030 in infrastructure investment. With this, dear friends, today we are celebrating 70th Army Day, and on this occasion all three chiefs of our defense wings, Army, Navy and Air Force, they paid their tribute at Amar Jawan Jyoti, that is in Delhi. And the Army Chief also reviewed the parade of Kariyappa Parade Ground in Delhi Cantonment. He talked about anti-national forces, and he assured that we will never allow them to succeed. Whatever cost we have to pay, we are ready to pay it, but we will never allow anti-national forces to win, particularly when it comes to our country, India. Also talked about Pakistan, and more than that, it is important for all of us to know this thing. It is a GK general knowledge thing, but a very important one, that we celebrate this Army Day after K.M. Kariyappa. He was the general, later known as Field Marshal K.M. Kariyappa. He was the first commander-in-chief of Indian Army post-independence, right? And Prime Minister as well as President have greeted all soldiers, veterans and their families on this occasion. With this, dear friends, Israel's Prime Minister is in India. He's going to be here for 6 days. And dear friends, we know the relationship between India and Israel. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Israel back in 2017, at that point of time, he was welcomed with love, with tender care. And we know their hospitality. I still remember how Prime Minister Netanyahu accompanied our Prime Minister throughout his stay in Israel. He was very well looked after, and this indicates the warm and friendly relationship between our two countries. With this, we are also celebrating 25 years of diplomatic relations between India and Israel. And in this last 2 years, less than 2 years time, we have seen presidential visits taking place both sides, and with the arrival of Benjamin Netanyahu, this reciprocal prime ministerial visit has also taken place. If you ask me about the key pillars when it comes to relationship between India and Israel, then you have political understanding, particularly international level political understanding, security cooperation. Terrorism is a thing, right? 2611, and apart from that, all the terrorist attack that takes place in both the countries, right? Cross-border terrorism is something that both the countries are affected with. Technological partnership is a very important thing, and when we talk about technology, then we need collaboration, and of course both these countries are working shoulder to shoulder with each other in areas of space, cybersecurity and innovation. When we talk about cybersecurity and innovation, then I would like to add here that startups are a successful thing in Israel, right? Startups are quite successful in Israel, and we need to learn many things from Israel in terms of startup, right? We have, or what India is trying to do is, rather than making our youth job seekers, we want them to become job givers. That means we need more and more startups. So we can use this human capital as well as human resources in terms of our skills, our capabilities, our risk-taking culture. When it comes to startups or business, we need to utilize these things, and we can succeed if we have some good partners like Israel. With this, dear friends, the President has of course invited Israel to invest in our country in terms of manufacturing, in services, in startups and in technology. And we also appreciated Israel's partnership, or you can say Israel's contribution in terms of water management, defense. In terms of water management, they are one of the best. In terms of defense, they are one of the best. In technologies and pharma sector as well, they are leaders. So we can learn many things, and of course Israel too can learn many things from us, and together it indicates that our partnership is creating synergy. When I say synergy, I mean to say 2 plus 2 is becoming 5, and of course we have asked them to take part in this flagship programs as well. In terms of agriculture, you know that Israel is self-reliant. Israel is a country whose predominant area is under desert, right? Water is a sort of scarce resource in Israel. Then as well, they are using moisture in the air to produce their crops, and this is something that we can use for our arid zones, like you can say Rajasthan. We can use it for Saurashtra, that is in Gujarat. We can use it for Vidarbha area, that is in Maharashtra. So we can utilize this thing, and we can help our farmers to make the most out of scarce resource like water. Olive tea was offered to Israeli Prime Minister, and this olive tea is produced with the help of or you can say joint venture of government of Rajasthan and Israel. These are different areas in which we had signed MOUs, agreements with Israel, and as I told you, this is a 6-day visit, so many more things will be there. So we will keep on adding things with this particular topic. This one is a bit out of box, you can say, focus topic. It is about new passport rules. Now basically, very quickly, Foreign Office has decided, and many of you would be aspiring to become Indian Foreign Service officers. Very important for you here. They can ask you this question in your interview. Anyways, it is important for your mains as well, and I will tell you why. See, this Foreign Office has decided that now if you need to get a passport, then you don't need to provide your parents' name, particularly your father's name. And something like this was supported by Supreme Court when it comes to birth certificate. Delhi High Court back in 2016 has said that for getting a passport, mother's name is sufficient. You don't need name of both your parents. And one of the reason is that at present our society has changed quite a lot. We see single parents, right? Nowadays it was something that was not visible in our society, but things have changed. Whether these are good changes or bad changes, only time can tell. But at present we know that there are many kids, there are many families, or you can say there are single parent in our country. So we need to sort out, or we need to change or we need to fulfill this social expectations, right, with new thinking and new rules, because this sort of changes that are been provided by Foreign Office, they have not born out of vacuum. These are some sort of tangible needs of our society, and particularly you can imagine the situation of single mother, particularly in country like India, right? Our culture is a bit different when we compare it with Western countries. So now we know that it is very difficult for a single mother to get some documents for her kids, particularly when divorce has taken place between the parents of this particular kid. So at that point of time, it becomes very difficult for a single mother. You know that the man will take maximum advantage of this, you can say, loophole. And so it is better that government has changed this rule, and basically government's rules and regulations should be made in such a way that they are taking away the burden rather than adding more burden. With this step, we can clearly say that government has played a very proactive role, and this is one of the reason, or you can say this is a very good example you can use if you want to support your argument, if you are taking a stand, if you are being asked a type of question in which you have to say that government is doing something or is working or is sensitive, then this sort of informations or this sort of examples are quite helpful, and it will add value, or you can say weight, to your answer. These are your questions here, 3 questions, very easy one. I'm sure many of you will be able to answer it in first go. With this, dear friends, I will share this file PDF on my Facebook page, which is Prashanti Mauni. You can get it from our official Telegram channel as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Many interesting videos are available there. Hit that notification bell so you get notified by the YouTube every time we upload an educational video on our YouTube channel. With this, dear friends, you can encourage us, motivate us by giving us your like as well as your feedback or comments in the comment section of this video. I'll be eagerly waiting for your answer. Again, very sorry, but don't forget to check out StudyIQ.com. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.